Boy, tough to feel anything but deflated after that game. Packers coming off a loss to the Minnesota Vikings, 27-25. They lose by 2 to the Vikings that improved to 14-2 and all but secure the 1 seed if they defeat Detroit next week. I assume in Sunday Night Football. But 14-2, the Minnesota Vikings. I would have never guessed that. I knew they were going to be a good team. They added some great offseason free agents like Jonathan Grenard, Andrew Van Ginkel. Their GM picked up a nice tackle in Cam Robinson after their all-pro left tackle went down. They picked up Sam Darnold. They picked up Aaron Jones, the GOAT. But seemingly, I would have never thought that this team... I thought they were going to have a losing record, but I thought that they were going to have a good team, but their quarterback was the only thing that was going to be holding them back. But Darnold has seemingly proved the whole NFL, and me wrong, he has been top 5 quarterback in the NFL all year long. Who would have guessed that? Sam Darnold today, 33 for 43, 377 yards passing. That's a career high for him. 3 touchdowns with 1 pick. Man, what could I say? Kevin O'Connell is a great coach for the Minnesota Vikings. Pains me to say that. But, man, he has turned Sam Darnold. Yeah, I mean, Sam Darnold's going to be making $50 million next year if it's for the Minnesota Vikings or if it's for another team. Maybe it's the Browns. Maybe it's, there's so many teams that need quarterbacks next year. Darnold has seemingly, with 1 year playing unreal football, going to be making $45 to $50 million for sure next season. Unbelievable stuff. I mean, kudos to the Minnesota Vikings. They are a tough fucking team. So, like I said, not hard to feel anything but defeated after that game. Brian Flores, unbelievable defensive game for him. To piggyback off of that, Jordan Love had only 63 yards passing halfway through the third quarter. Just absolutely brutal shit. Can't do that in the NFL. This offense couldn't get going. The first 2 drives just absolutely duds. I mean, the sequence where it was 3 straight passes for 3 straight incompletions to start the drive, and you have to punt right away. 4th and 10, just the ultimate worst thing besides returning the ball over. But yeah, 63 passing yards, 3/4 of the way through the game. Just, it's rough. They turned it on late. Love finished 19 for 30, 185 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks, 83 QBR. That seems a little bit high. But Packers, once again, never had a chance to have the ball with little time left and drive it down to win that game, only losing by 2. And that being said, though, and I'll just make one point here. The Packers did not play well enough to win this game today, without a doubt. But it still doesn't mean that fucking offsides call on the field goal, the 55-yard field goal that was missed, the offsides play was not bullshit. That is absolutely fucking bullshit. I mean, if anything, there's still frame pictures. The right guard of the Minnesota Vikings is offsides rather than what Edgerrin Cooper was. It's just absolutely disgusting. Packers lose by 2. So Vikings get that 3 points fucking on the missed 55-yard field goal. That being said, you got to find a way to overcome. This is the NFL, unfortunately. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. You got to find a way, unfortunately, to overcome these refs. But that'll be the end of that rant. I don't know. It's going to be kind of a depressing one here, but I don't know. I don't know if I see the Green Bay Packers winning a Super Bowl this year, unfortunately. Could they do it? Am I ruling it out? Absolutely not. No way. I will always believe in this team, but, not being able... Their 5 losses are to the 3 teams ahead of them in the standings. Better, twice to Minnesota, twice to Detroit, and one to Philly. I still don't really count that Philly game. First game of the week in Brazil, shit field, but I digress. They are still a very tough football team, barring Jalen Hurts actually playing. Hopefully he gets better. You want to see them at their full strength. But tough to see the Packers winning a Super Bowl. Kind of look at this game where there's the verdict of the Packers should have a number one wide receiver, or you could have what I've been saying, all these complimentary guys. How does a defensive coordinator guard these guys when you don't know who's the number one? Well, today would be the argument that you need a number one receiver, especially on those key critical third down plays where you need that guy to get you a first down. You know, Romeo Doubs has been that guy for the most part, but I mean, is Romeo Doubs a number one guy on any other team? I don't know. This was the key game for that. That being said, I still believe in these guys, but Jaden Reed, 1 catch, 6 yards. Him and Jordan Love couldn't execute on that 4th down and 2 when they were in field goal range, so that's another missed opportunity. The Packers could have kicked the field goal and maybe win this game, but instead they went for it on 4th and 2 early on in the game. But hindsight's 2020. You can't really shit on that necessarily, but it's still a thing that I got to put out there. They dropped. It was a nice slant play. You know, it was off target throw by Love, but still catchable enough. It was low pass, but still Reed got both hands on it. It was a little lower, but just dropped it. It got in his hands, dropped it. It's on both of those guys, but it was one of. I don't think Jordan Love made many mistakes at all, but I still think this was probably one of his worst games of all time in his young career. You know, this offense just looked out of whack all game long, unfortunately. You know, even with the play calls, it was just like they were trying to feed it to Josh Jacobs a bunch, who had a nice game, 17 carries, 69 yards, 1 touchdown with 4.1 average. But my senses was it just felt off with the play calls. Like they wanted to give it to Josh Jacobs because he's an awesome player, but then they're trying to like mix it in with the passing, and then the next drive, I don't know, Matt kind of felt like, well, I had to throw, and then it was 3 straight incompletions and punting it away. The first drive of the game, the tone starter, you received the ball, Josh Jacobs, for everything great and amazing about him. His thing this year is his fumbling is his third fumble of the year. Fumbled on the very first drive. Just cannot have that. Shooting yourself in the foot. I swear the dude barely touched the ball and it just dropped. But that's football, I guess. So he wanted to start out fast. They're driving, fumbled in Minnesota's territory. Sucky. Like I said, Dobbs finished 7 catches for 58 yards. Tucker Kraft only had 2 catches for 53 yards, one being a 35-yard catch. But those 2 catches were like late in the 4th quarter when the Packers were trying to mount up a comeback. It felt weird that they didn't get Kraft going right away. If it was bootleg stuff, like just try to get him going. This is one of your best offensive players, maybe 2 or 3 best offensive weapons. He can't be getting his first catch in like the 4th quarter and finish 2 catches, on the day. He just can't. Thought Dontavian Wicks had a nice game, 4 catches, 43 yards with Christian Watson being out. Would have loved to have him. Hopefully he's back next week for the Bears. Maybe not. Maybe just wait until till the playoff game. Because barring something crazy, I don't know. Packers are either going to be the 6th seed or the 7th seed. So it's either you go against the NFC West or NFC South winner as a 6th seed, or you go against the Philadelphia Eagles on the road as the 7th seed. So it's kind of trending towards the 6th seed right now, but that's TBD. But would have really liked to have Christian Watson today. I felt like he would have made a big difference today. Don't know how you Packer fans feel, but I feel like if Christian Watson was in this game, it just changes the whole thinking process, I believe, of how Brian Flores would have ran this game. and the way the defenders would have had to, shifted coverage or because he's a top breaker wide receiver, and you need to account for that type of stuff. But yeah, back to Jaden Reed. I don't know what's been going on. One catch for 6 yards. Just he's great. He's great, and had a drop today. He's like leading the team in drops. This team has like so many drops. They got to be leading the NFL in drops between him and Wicks and Dobbs. But so they got to figure out Jaden Reed. They have to. This guy is a key part, and for him to not be, maybe we were wrong about him. I don't know. Maybe I was wrong about Jaden Reed, but it's, I don't know. That's like I said, hard to feel pretty happy about anything after that game. I was happy for Malik Heath. He had his one catch for 3 yards and a touchdown. Very happy for him. I would love to see him and Bo Melton play a lot more. Bo Melton, 3 catches for 18 yards. I would love to see Bo Melton and Malik Heath play more, but this offense, these wide receiver cores are just, because Bo Melton and Malik Heath are undrafted guys, you're not necessarily, for better or for worse, you're not going to play them over the drafted guys, those are Goody's guys, and, Wicks has some great things about him. Dobbs has some great things about him. Reed has some great things about him. Watson has some great things about him. But I don't know. Bo Melton, Malik Heath, whenever they're in, they're always making some plays. So if you can, just try to make. If you can get 6 good wide receivers, that is so hard to cover up. So, like I said, nice to see Malik Heath on his one catch get a touchdown today. Good for him. Yeah, Jordan Love, like I said, so off today. He didn't make any mistakes, which I really like, but the offense just had no cohesion. Even the offensive line, they allowed 3 sacks today. Coming in, Jordan Love was the least sacked quarterback in the NFL. Brian Flores did some great things. Packers torched them last year on New Year's Eve, but, they got punched in the mouth, and now they punched us in the mouth. They swept us this year, no doubt about it, and they dialed up some blitzes and pressures to get Jordan Love throwing off his back foot damn near every play. And teeing off of that, it's just love to talk to Tom Clements and why Tom Clements, quarterback guru for Brett Favre, for Aaron Rodgers, why is Jordan Love throwing off his back foot multiple times, like every single game he's throwing off his back foot, which creates, bad habits, not being able to throw with super complete accuracy, whereas you're throwing with 2 feet planted in the ground, hips square, eyes downfield. You're throwing off your back foot. Unless you're like crazy Patrick Mahomes, not many people at all can do that type of crap consistently and he's doing every single game, throwing off his back foot. Makes me sick, man. I'm no way giving up on Jordan Love. Absolutely no way. This kid can turn it around. He hasn't thrown an interception, in the last 6 games, but 185 yards is not going to do it at all. Moving on to the defense. I think the big key today was, once again, could not get any pressure on the defensive line. Listen to this. So between Brenton Cox Jr., Aaron Mosby, 2 rotational defensive ends, LVN, supposed starter, but a rotational defensive end, they combined, so Mosby and Cox combined for 0 tackles today. 0. Both of them had 0 tackles. LVN had 1 total tackle today. Unbelievable stuff. Kenny Clark, the Viking killer. 2 duds this year against the Vikings. Kenny Clark, 1 tackle today. So Kenny Clark, LVN, Mosby, Cox combined for 2 total tackles all game long. Man, LVN has got to be one of the most disappointing players in the 2024 season, without a doubt. I know that you always go back to guys like Devontae Adams or so many guys where it takes time for them to develop, and after 2 years you can't write off these guys. But going into almost 2 full seasons now with LVN, he is without a doubt just not been showing up on the stat sheet, not creating pressure on the opposing quarterbacks. And I get it. This is his third defense in 3 years. I get it. That's tough for a young NFL player. You know, having Iowa 3 years ago, Joe Barry last year, and now Jeff Hafley this year, his third different defense in 3 years. But you got to play. He's a first-round pick, 13th overall pick, trending towards bust, without a doubt. Wouldn't have thought that necessarily him coming out of the draft he'd be a bust, but it felt like a total Packers guy. Very disappointing. But did not mention today, to go along with Christian Watson, you didn't have Jair Alexander, who in your divisional matchups this year has only played 10 snaps between the Bears, the Lions, and the Vikings. Your divisional rivals, Jair Alexander has played 10 total snaps this year. You know, was a full participant, 1 day of practice this week, went to limited, then did not practice, apparently, according to Tom Pelissero. On game day this morning, he has knee swelling from everything I hear, is a PCL. Tough. Don't know if he'll be a Green Bay Packer. I don't know if he's played his last snap for Green Bay. I'm hoping he could be back this year and be at the best he can be, but this is probably Jair's last year as the Green Bay Packers, unfortunately. Green Bay will once again have to go into the next draft drafting a couple cornerbacks. But yeah, you didn't have Jair, Christian Watson. You didn't have Evan Williams, your starting safety this year. Your rookie safety, once again. Hopefully he will be back for the playoffs, is what Matt LaFleur was saying. And once again, you did not have Quay Walker Day, which you would have loved to have, especially when covering, rather than Eric Wilson covering, Hawkinson today, who had 5 catches, 68 yards. Would have loved to have Quay be that guy who's a little bit faster and a little bit more athletic, covering those tight ends deep down in the middle of the seam. It was kind of tough day. Nice to see Carrington Valentine have a beautiful interception, 2 games in a row that he has an interception now. Nice to see him get an interception today that kind of turned things around to get the Packers start going after they were down pretty much by like 10 the whole game. And that's what I mean. The Packers were down by 10 most of the game, and they finished by losing. They lost by only 2 at the end, but so it kind of looks like a close game, but once again, same as the first game with Minnesota. Minnesota was beating the shit out of us all game, but then we mounted a comeback, and the score kind of looks closer than what it is. But that's the NFL for you. I want to switch off on a positive note, and I want to say Edgerrin Cooper is a fucking monster. Tell me I'm wrong, because he's not. This kid, I absolutely loved him coming out of the draft. He is a superstar. 4 tackles for loss today. Tackling guys like Aaron Jones, who you guys know I love, in the backfield so many times. This dude is unbelievable. This guy, man, take anything away from this game, Edgerrin Cooper is a superstar, and that's why you love to have Quay Walker back out on the field and see how this defense and this linebacker crew really perform today. He had 11 total tackles today, including 8 solo. Like I said, 4 tackles for loss. Javon Bullard, who had to enter in at safety today because Zane Anderson, the guy that they had at safety all week, got injured first series of the game. That's just how the game kind of went for Green Bay. Javon Bullard came in, led the team in tackles, 11 total, 9 solo. But if you see a DB leading the team in tackles, that's how you know you got torched in the passing game. With that being said, Justin Jefferson, 8 catches, 92 yards. Jordan Addison, who has been seemingly a Packer killer, 6 catches, 69 yards, 1 touchdown today. Jalen Naylor, the guy, and that's how Justin Jefferson is. Had a great game, 8 catches, 92 yards, but that's how you know the coverage swings to Justin Jefferson so many times in this game, which leaves the third guy, Jalen Naylor, on so many plays. 5 catches, 81 yards, and a touchdown for Jalen Naylor. Man, it was just so frustrating today. Carl Brooks got the only sack today. I love Carl Brooks. I want to see him as a Packer for a long time. He not only had a sack today, Carl Brooks did, but he had a key fumble recovery that after Carrington Valentine got the interception. He was running. He fumbles it like very Packers like shit. But Carl Brooks racing down the field, recover that fumble. He plays till the whistle every game. Love Carl Brooks. Rashawn Gary was the only edge guy that came to play today. He had 2 tackles for a loss today. Although he hasn't had big sack numbers this year, he has really improved on his run defense, which he was weak last year. And I love to see that from Rashawn Gary. Keep it up, Rashawn. You're doing great stuff. Isaiah McDuffie had 1 tackle for loss today. Man, like I said, just would love to see Cooper, Quay, and McDuffie in there as a nice, healthy linebacker group. But that's TBD for now. Yeah, I think that's all I got today. Packers lose by 2. Loving offense played like crap. Kevin O'Connell, if he's not coach of the year, I mean, he's definitely 1, 2, or 3 for sure. Sam Darnold made all the A+ throws all game long. Jordan Love made C+ throws all game long, and that's kind of the story for me. Defensive line couldn't generate any pass rush, and that kind of piggybacks off of why Sam Darnold is making these A+ throws is because the Vikings offensive line played their fucking ass off. Darnold had all day to throw. This defensive line did not do shit. Once again, they will need to address the pass rushing situation this next offseason. It's going to be cornerback and defensive line. Now, defense again for the Packers in this next upcoming draft in Green Bay. Yeah. Although the Packers offensive line has played great this year, they didn't today, which made Jordan Love look like such crap all game long. 63 passing yards through 3 quarters. That is not winning football. And they got the Bears next week and what would be their last home game of the year. Curious to see if they're going to play any starters. Curious to see if the Bears are going to play any starters. I'm not giving up on this team, but very hard to see them winning the Super Bowl after this game. They now have to go on the road 3 straight times to make it to the Super Bowl. Only 3 teams have done that ever in the NFL history. Ironically, one of them is Green Bay in 2010, but I don't know if this team has that thing. They are still a very good team, and once again, they are the youngest team in the NFL. Don't like using that excuse anymore, and I love this team to death, but this was a tough one today. Would have loved to get a win over the Minnesota Vikings, but those damn NFL scripts wanted Vikings, Lions, Sunday Night Football for the number 1 seed next week. So there was no way Green Bay was going to win today. But joking aside, I digress. Thank you guys for watching. Bears week next week. Can't wait for that. Aaron Jones, great game for him today. 12 carries, 47 yards, 4 catches, 30 yards. Love Aaron Jones. He is making that team look absolutely beautiful. Some great runs today. Nothing crazy stat-wise, but every run and catch that he did and block that he did was perfectly executed. Darnold just fucking threw the ball A+ all day, so you didn't necessarily have to give it to Aaron Jones. This team has a lot to figure out in these next 2 weeks before their playoff game, which is crazy to think, but hopefully they can get right next week against the Bears. But thank you guys for watching. Click like on this video and subscribe if you want. And thank you guys for watching these. Really appreciate it. And as always, my heart's breaking right now, but go Pack, go.